What if I told you, after an entire season of chaos, betrayal, propaganda, and non-stop buildup, the boys actually pulled off one of the darkest and most emotional finales in the entire series? And yes, Homelander is finally dead, but the craziest part? Homelander wasn't the real final villain anymore. By the end of this episode, Billy Butcher becomes something even scarier. So today, we're breaking down the entire finale ending. Every major death, every twist, every emotional moment, and why this ending completely changes the boys' universe forever. And trust me, the final 15 minutes are absolutely insane. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. The episode opens at Frenchie's grave. The entire team is standing there while his coffin is being buried, and honestly, the atmosphere immediately feels heavy. Everybody's broken emotionally, especially Kimiko. At the same time, Hughie is reading Frenchie's final letter, basically his last wishes. And surprisingly, it's actually funny in a very classic Frenchie way. Even after death, he's joking about how he's seen everybody in the team completely naked at least once. It's weirdly emotional and hilarious at the same time, which honestly fits Frenchie perfectly, but then something strange happens. Kimiko suddenly starts losing control emotionally, and when Hughie tries comforting her by placing a hand on her shoulder, she snaps instantly, and around her, small particles start getting pulled inward, exactly like the energy buildup before Soldier Boy's radiation blast. That's when Sister Sage realizes something terrifying. The experiment worked. Kimiko now has radiation abilities. Meanwhile, in a completely isolated countryside house, Ryan is living alone while watching Vought and Homelander propaganda all over TV. And then, Homelander himself shows up. He explains that Vought's crime analytics detected reports of a flying child in a remote area, and he immediately knew it had to be Ryan. Now, this scene is honestly one of the most important moments in the entire finale because Homelander isn't there to threaten Ryan. He's there to bring him home. He literally offers Ryan entire floors inside Vought Tower. He tells him he can live however he wants, total freedom. But Ryan refuses immediately, and honestly, this makes complete sense. Ever since the beginning of the season, Homelander has repeatedly shown Ryan exactly what kind of person he really is. Violent, unstable, narcissistic, and completely incapable of being an actual father. Their ideologies are now completely opposite. Homelander tries convincing him over and over again, but Ryan finally tells him to leave, straight to his face. On the other side, the boys are secretly evacuating rescued soups out of the country using Gen V students to help transport them safely into Canada. And during the sequence, we get a surprisingly emotional conversation between Starlight and one of the younger soups. Starlight compares herself to Queen Maeve. She admits that when she first met Maeve, she thought she was arrogant and emotionally dead inside, but now she realizes she slowly became exactly like her. But the younger soup tells Annie something important. She says she still looks up to her because unlike everybody else, Annie never stopped fighting. And honestly, that moment matters a lot for Starlight's character arc. Meanwhile, Ashley and the church leader, basically the father supporting Homelander's God narrative, are having a private conversation. The father reveals something terrifying. Anyone who refuses to worship Homelander as America's God will be eliminated. Ashley is clearly disturbed because deep down, even she doesn't fully believe in Homelander anymore. And interestingly, the second Ashley personality growing behind her head tries talking to her again, but Ashley ignores it because of their earlier conflict. Now back at the graveyard, Kimiko is mourning Frenchie alone until Sister Sage approaches her. And this scene is brutal psychologically. Sage intentionally insults Frenchie over and over again just to make Kimiko angry enough to trigger her powers. Eventually, Kimiko explodes with rage and releases a massive radiation blast. And instantly, Sage's compound V-enhanced intelligence completely burns out. She basically becomes normal again. That's when Butcher reveals the truth. This entire thing was a test. They needed proof Frenchie's experiment actually worked, and now they finally know Kimiko can weaken soups permanently. After this, the boys begin planning their final mission. Homelander is about to live stream from the White House and officially declare himself America's new god. So the team decides they're going to infiltrate the White House and kill him. And thanks to MM stealing White House blueprints last season, they already know secret tunnel access points. Meanwhile, Sister Sage, now completely stripped of her intelligence, literally says the world is ending anyway. So she might as well visit Harry Potter World before everything collapses. And honestly, that might be the most realistic thing anyone says in the entire episode. The next day, inside the White House, the father is meeting wealthy elites to gain support for Homelander's new religious movement. But then Deep shows up, and this scene is genuinely sad. Deep desperately begs for purpose. He offers to kill anyone who doesn't believe in Homelander. But for the first time in the entire series, Homelander finally tells Deep the truth. He admits he never respected him, never liked him, and only kept him around because he wanted Deep to eventually realize how pathetic he truly was. That completely destroys Deep emotionally. Then Homelander casually kills one of the the elites by throwing him into space without a suit, proving once again that he sees human lives as meaningless. The father warns Homelander that Kimiko may now possess radiation abilities and suggests delaying the White House event. But Homelander refuses. At this point, he's fully consumed by his god complex. The father also reveals psychics and loyal followers are already positioned across the country to eliminate non-believers after Homelander's announcement. Meanwhile, the boys finally infiltrate the White House tunnels. And yes, Butcher finally picks up the iconic crowbar from the comics, the exact weapon he used against Homelander in the original comic ending. As Homelander's livestream begins upstairs, security forces already know the boys are coming. The tunnels become a trap. Heavy gunfire erupts from both sides while the team gets pinned between massive blast doors. And honestly, this sequence feels straight out of a horror movie. That's when Ashley suddenly appears and opens the doors for them. Because deep down, she finally wants redemption. Her morality finally wins. The team escapes into the White House itself, where they immediately encounter Deep. Deep believes this is a loyalty test from Homelander, so he attacks without hesitation. Starlight grabs him and drags him away separately to fight him one-on-one. At the same time, the father begins hunting Butcher and Kimiko, but Hughie outsmarts him by activating White House smoke systems, filling entire hallways with smoke and confusion. Frenchie then uses voice mimicry to lure the father into another room, and when the father attacks Hughie, hits him with a sonic reversal device that sends his own sonic blast back into his body, killing him instantly. Meanwhile, upstairs, the real war begins. Butcher and Kimiko crash directly into Homelander's live announcement, and immediately the fight explodes into absolute chaos. At the same time, Starlight throws Deep underwater during their battle, and because of the earlier pipeline disaster, the sea creatures are furious at him, so they literally attack and kill him underwater, which honestly might be the most fitting death Deep could possibly get. Back inside the White House, Homelander is still overpowering everybody. Even Kimiko can barely help, but then Ryan suddenly joins the fight. And finally, father versus son begins. Ryan and Butcher together start pushing Homelander harder than ever before. Then Kimiko remembers Frenchie and finally finds the courage to unleash her full radiation blast. And this changes everything. Homelander is no longer invincible. The upgraded Compound 5 inside him completely burns out. At the same time, Butcher and Ryan also lose their enhancements. Now it becomes a pure hand-to-hand fight, human versus monster. And honestly, this is where the episode becomes incredible, because for the first time ever, Homelander is terrified. Butcher beats him brutally while holding the crowbar. Homelander literally begs for mercy. He offers Butcher Vought, power, anything. He even humiliates himself completely just to survive. But Butcher doesn't care anymore. And just like the comics, he smashes Homelander's skull open with the crowbar, ending Homelander forever. And the craziest part? The entire fight was accidentally broadcast live to the entire world. Everybody witnesses Homelander's downfall in real time. Afterward, Ashley publicly claims Homelander was insane and that CIA Black Ops agents stopped him, meaning the boys become unofficial heroes. But that peace doesn't last long. Later, Butcher tries reconnecting with Ryan. He says they can finally start a new life together, but Ryan quietly refuses. He says if he's going to start over, he doesn't want Butcher involved. And honestly, this scene hurts, because Butcher realizes he pushed away literally everyone he cared about. Then comes one of the saddest moments in the series. Butcher returns home to Terror, only to discover the dog died naturally from old age. At this point, Butcher completely breaks emotionally, and that's when he takes the remaining soup-killing virus and heads toward Vought Tower. Hughie realizes immediately what he's planning. Butcher now wants every soup dead, every single one, no exceptions. Inside Vought Tower, Butcher reveals he connected the virus to the sprinkler system. One button press, and every soup inside the tower dies instantly. Hughie tries stopping him, but Butcher refuses to listen. And finally, the last fight of the series begins, Hughie versus Butcher. And just like the comics, Hughie is ultimately forced to kill the man who became his mentor, because Butcher crossed the final line. After Butcher's death, he's buried beside Becca. And surprisingly, the ending becomes peaceful. Kimiko leaves for Mexico, alone with a dog, finally trying to live the peaceful life she once imagined with Frenchie. officially adopts Ryan, and his family problems are finally healed. Hughie and Annie reject government offers and instead open their own electronics and media store called Campbell Audio Visual, mirroring Hughie's original life before everything went wrong. Annie is pregnant, and they reveal they're naming the baby Robin, after Hughie's first girlfriend, whose death started this entire story back in Season 1. And in the final scene, emergency alerts begin appearing across the city. Annie flies off to save people one last time, while Hughie watches peacefully, finally happy, finally free, and that's how The Boys ends. Honestly, even with some changes from the comics, this finale actually worked way better than I expected. Yeah, some fights could have been longer, and the pacing definitely feels rushed near the end. But emotionally, this ending lands hard. Homelander dies not as a god, but as a terrified man. Butcher wins his war and loses his soul, and Hughie becomes the one person who finally breaks the cycle. So now I want to hear your thoughts. Did you actually like Homelander's death? Was Butcher becoming the final villain the right choice? And do you think this ending was better than the comics? Drop your full theories and opinions in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for more deep dives into the darkest superhero universes out there.